Our final JCL statement is the data definition, or DD statement. This is used to describe all input and output files that will be used by the program executed in this step. We can see the label assigning a name of file A, the operation field indicating that this is a DD statement, and the parameters coded to define the resource being used. In this case, the dataset name and the disposition of the dataset upon step completion. For the DD statement, we will look at some of the most common parameters a bit more closely. While there are many more available, the ones listed here are the most commonly used. There are three broad categories of use that we need to consider. The first is whether the dataset already exists. The second is whether we are creating a dataset using JCL. And the third is whether or not the data is destined for an output printer queue. However, before we can explore these parameters, we need to understand how the label name is assigned. The name specified on a DD name is established by the program being run. This is not a name that can be simply made up, but it must be provided by the programmer or documentation so that anyone coding JCL knows which names are expected. In this slide, we can see the coding that would occur within a program. In this case, internal to the program, there would be a definition that contains the DD name that the program is expecting to link with. This name must match that coded in the JCL, so that when the program opens the file for processing, either input or output, the connection to the JCL will already have been established by the initiator when the job begins, and the program is then capable of communicating with the appropriate hardware device. As we indicated earlier, there is a fundamental difference in how data sets are coded based on whether they already exist or whether they are being created. If the data set already exists, then we simply have to code the data set name and the disposition. If the data set is to be created, then we must satisfy the creation requirements just as we did under TSO-ISPF when we allocated a new data set. Additional parameters are coded to fulfill that set of definitions. We also have the option of directing output to a printer queue. In this case, we don't need to specify a name, but rather simply code a sysout statement with the output class to which it should be assigned. As previously, the output class will have been defined by installation standards. Another option that we have available is to simply code dummy. This indicates a null file, so that when the program processes this file, it will treat it as an empty data set if it is being processed for input, or it will simply discard any data if it is being processed as output.